Blah. Y'all already know what it is. Your boy Yaakov, what it do? The outlet to reality, the holdest podcast in Vegas and Chicago. What up? This is the place where you want to hide from your drama or maybe hide from your baby mama. Aha, just kidding. But anyways, fans, thank you for staying tuned. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Ching, ching. And today we have a very special guest who I consider a friend, a mentor, and he is a rabbi. The best part, he does a lot of outreach to the youth and college students. Give it up for Rabbi Israeli. How's it going, Rabbi?
We're doing great. We're doing great. So glad to be here. Thanks for having me. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, Rabbi. I just made it home, so I was like, oh, I'm so happy to have you. You don't understand it. I've been waiting for this moment to shine. You see?
Awesome. Awesome.
I do want to share a little bit how we first met, Rabbi. So I want to take it back to last year for Hanukkah. It was like the second or third lighting of the candle, and you had a big party. It was a lot of people, and I got to meet you, the family. And one thing that stood out from you, Rabbi, is that after the whole event, I was walking out. You said to me, "Do you have a menorah at your house?" I said, "No, Rabbi, I don't." And you're like, "Look, I have an extra one. Here's a menorah. Here's some candles. Take one." And I thought that was very special because, thought that was very nice. I was like, man, now I can actually light it, at my house. And from that moment on, I feel like we got along very well because within a month or two, you actually reached out and said, "Hey, let's go get some coffee, have a one-on-one, and so I can get to know you more, where you're from." And so it was really nice because, we were going to talk for just 30 minutes, ended up talking for an hour and a half at Cafe Express. That's how you know
Yeah.
I passed.
Yeah.
But Rabbi,
That's awesome.
right? And I want to thank you, for reaching out because I think a lot of young people, um, they feel lost. They don't know
Mhm.
what direction to take. And it's nice to have somebody who's willing to, give a hand and who is more spiritual, that can see things that we know we need help with, right? And
Mhm.
so I'm very grateful, like I said, Rabbi. And Rabbi, for you, what was your any memory you have when we first met? What was your first thought?
I saw someone I never met before. So the one thing is make sure if a new guest comes, we have to make sure they're comfortable, that they either, if they know somebody, it's always good. If they're brand new, that they know they're just not feeling alone or okay entire time. So we tried to make sure that you're comfortable, and seemed like you knew some people anyway, so that was very good. And and I remember you said that when you first came to Vegas to begin with, you were part. I think you had connected with Rabbi Fromwitz, and probably the pandemic happened, and a lot of you know uncertainties and confusion, and you still found your way to be connected through the Kollel, or I guess you found us, but you weren't like, okay, whatever, then I guess it's not for me. And then it's, go back when you weren't fully engaged yet. You still felt important that something will come up and I'll reconnect when it works and when it happens. And, thank God it did.
Awesome, awesome, Rabbi. Very beautiful. And I want to say, it feels like a big movement because, Kyle, Josh from the Moisture House, we feel really comfortable being around you and to study with you every Monday, every other Monday. I'm not gonna lie, you make one of the best steak with hot sauce. By the way, fans, My rabbi right here, best hot sauce I've ever had in Vegas and homemade, by the way.
Spicy, spicy.
In my burn, in my burn.
Right.
Rabbi, what's your secret? What's your secret with when you make your hot sauce?
I'm going to quote something my friend said many years ago. It said, sometimes the difference between average food and better food is finding the right recipes. I mean, it's fine. I looked online and I try to find things that work. I manipulate a little bit myself. As getting more comfortable, you try to like branch out a little bit, but to find a good baseline or basic recipe, then you can work from there. If you find a bad one, then you're gonna get things that aren't as good. But thank God I was able to find things that worked out and give you at least something that tastes decent.
Oh, yeah, I love it. That was a dope quote. I like it, Rabbi. And Rabbi, I want my fans to know you more and your background. If you could share about, where your both of your families from, your parents, and how you ended up in Vegas.
So my parents are Israeli. They got married and they moved to America a bunch of years ago. An older sister. We grew up traditional. Around 9.5, 10-ish, started becoming more religious. I did the Nagila that we had in New York, Jap Nagila, similar that they have here with Rabbi Locker, but the different same program, but in New York. I think all of us went to Chabad. Israelis went to Chabad, go to Chabad, no matter where they are. Um, and I made the shift from public school to yeshiva. Definitely a change, definitely a adjustment. I went through a few years of like a beginners elementary school yeshiva for like kids that are transferring from public school, so you get a bearing, so it's not just throwing into a mainstream one. And then I went to the mainstream one, and then I went to a Jewish boys high school, and 12th grade the option was to do the the more base measure learning, better style learning in the morning, and then stop, or do the whole day. And then one of my rabbis said, like, what are you going to do the rest of the day anyway? You can go home and I think then people like video games or whatever it is like. What are you going to do? Go home, watch movies? What are you going to do, buddy? Play basketball? Like, how much can you really fill your time? If you have your friends here, you have learning, and try it out. See what happens. Give it a couple weeks and see how you like it. And I thought that was a reasonable thing, and I tried it out, and it's in a way it does keep, if you want it to be, as with these changes, it can give you a sense of responsibility and stability and and being accountable. Or you could just let it, like, okay, whatever. I'm just here and I'm with my friends and it's a little ride, but and hope. And I tried to be in more of the accountability side, and I try my best, hopefully, and went to Chavetz Chaim after that. There for many years, and I had gotten smicha already, um, and I was working in elementary school, so it was part of a job listing, and I got an email. And I was like, oh, Vegas, that's nice. My wife won't want to go anyway. She doesn't want to move to Vegas. She has no interest in these type of things. And I just let her go. A week later, my wife asked me, oh, I saw this email from Vegas. Like, look at it. I didn't think you'd want it. And, we'll look into it and say no. I had known Rabbi Cutler from Yeshiva anyway. When he was married, he was he liked having guests, so I went to him probably once or twice a year for Shabbat dinner or something like that. And there was a short time I wanted to be to law school. So he helped me study for the LSATs. He was really very generous with that. Um, and so I recognized she felt comfortable with the interaction, and the experience was pretty positive. Our first summer married, we came to Vegas for Seed. Seed was like a summer learning experience, depending on the community. Sometimes it would send married people, sometimes sending single people, men or women, depending what the needs are. Sometimes they have a camp and they're going with people in the community, whatever it is. So we came, my wife and I, to Vegas because the rabbi goes on vacation to learn with, to study with some of the community members, to run classes or something like that. So we've been in Vegas previously anyway. So it's not like we've never been to this community to begin with. Actually, we saw the growth from 2014 to 2018. It was very cool. And, we're considering it and discussing with my rabbis in New York. And we've came to the conclusion that if it's something that I feel comfortable doing and I'm excited about doing, obviously, anything you don't do without being excited about, you're not going to do well. And God really helped my wife find a job very quickly. CCSD has a large need for school psychologists, so it was pretty simple. And we came and we make a difference in the greater Vegas community, and there are times we notice that, and it's very uplifting for ourselves to see growth from, from our students, from the community itself, from our own growth. There's always where to find the inspiration.
Wow, that's beautiful. It's amazing how you said it took that one email and you asked your wife, like, "Hey, you think this is a good idea?" No, no, no. And then next you're talking to your rabbis and you made this big change because New York, it gets cold. You know what I'm saying? And you move to the desert. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it gets hot.
Too hot, Rabbi. Too
We
hot.
we came our pilot weekend was Memorial Day, so it was pretty hot, but not super hot yet. Then I came in mid June to look at houses. It was hot. Like I came, took pictures, took videos, and sent to my wife to look at. And my wife said the first time we came out of that plane, late July, or we come out of those doors onto the catwalk for the pickup. Right to herself, why are they pumping the heat? In New York, in the wintertime, usually in Chicago also, when you have the Costco, when you walk in, like they're blowing hot air because it's like 20 degrees outside. So she thought they were doing something. Like, why are they pumping the heat? Like, oh no, this is the air. The air is just 90 degrees. It's 10:30 at night.
Right?
It's a very, very different experience and reality than what you're used to in New York, obviously. I don't get as cold. I'm pretty good in terms of handling cold, so that wasn't a major issue. Uh, my wife would joke that I would never wear coats unless it was in the single digits. Uh, but yeah, coming here, I just tell people just drink. If you drink your drink, drink. If you don't think of the drink, drink, and drink some more, and drink again. Just keep on drinking, and you'll be fine.
Right? Oh man. That's a good one, Rabbi. And Rabbi,
Yeah.
I want to know, so if you can explain more about like what you and Rabbi Cutler do, because you guys are like a team. Like I said,
Right.
you guys are like a double force. If you could explain to people that are, trying to get connected, this is your moment to shine, if you want to spill the beans, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, the secret sauce. So, as someone that became more integrated into Jewish, I guess, more religious life when I was 9, 10 years old, what I remember the hardest transitions, the hardest learning curves was language. And I'm a Hebrew speaker from home, but the language was still very difficult. Like this getting used to more Hebrew in terms of written text in front of you. American, for Israelis, is very different because they're used to being comfortable with the Torah, Torah language, the Siddur language, just being comfortable with it around you. So just get used to that. That's one thing that I remember. Second thing I remember is following the guidelines of the laws and the halacha when you don't know what's going on. I remember like the first time I was doing Shemona Esrei, I had no clue what's going on. So I had the Siddur open. Okay, I see all these kids next to me with the Siddur open, and then turning pages. Okay, fine. I'm seeing reading the words and turning pages. At one point, kid goes like this. Hit his chest twice. Well, okay, I gotta say I'm in our chest twice. I'm like 10 years old, no clue what's going on. But again, this is what they do. They bow down. Like I'm trying to navigate this by myself because it was my first time, and 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 trying to navigate and trying to realize what's going on. And I knew I was a kid, so it's still simpler. But as an adult, I can imagine when you, even if you're just interested, there's so many changes. You need you need the guidance on those individual levels, individual steps. The philosophy difference and the outlook and the hashkafa and the principles and that there's also going to have to be an adjustment. But just like, I want to eat normally. What do I do? What can I eat? What can I eat? I get all these questions. Like, and part of our job, if even for the person that's involved, that wants to grow, wants to learn, is getting them comfortable so that doesn't become overwhelming. Part of our job, also for the person that's going slower, is to give them the better choices. Where right now I have in front of me something kosher, not kosher. I want the reasons to eat the kosher food to be more stronger, and they can make the right choice at the right time. I don't want them to think, "Well, my rabbi told me to. I have to do that." I'm not making the choice. I want them to make the choice. Um, so when Rabbi Cutler and I try to either we're teaching Torah or having a discussion, it's not like I'm trying to make someone's light switch or whatever it is. If it happens, that's great. But we're we're teaching, we're educating, we're opening up the options that were never available. If you've never had the option to eat kosher, you have the option to have a Shabbat, we offer that. And sometimes it's through a class, sometimes through a one-to-one class, sometimes through inviting for Shabbat, sometimes through, like you said, taking sugyas. Not everyone had a learning Gemara opportunity when they're 15 years old in high school. So we offer that as an option. And not everyone learned what is the correct of the or a correct story of Purim. We do that around Purim time once a year. And when you have a better sense of this is what the Judaism that I was told about, well, what I thought about Judaism was dipping apple in honey, and then 4 questions on Pesach, and then lighting candles on Hanukkah, and that's it. And maybe hearing shofar, Rosh Hashanah, like that's all your Judaism. Then okay, what's the big deal? But if it's more than that, like, oh, maybe I should reconsider. So that's part of what we try to do in our various opportunities, and also sometimes people need the more immersive experience, either through trips or going to yeshiva or seminary for a week, 2, 3, whatever it is, month. Um, and then you're not like learning and then going back to your life, learning back to your life. You're, I want to absorb as much as I can in this one month, in this 2 weeks, in these 2 weeks, in this whatever it is. and it makes such a larger difference in your relationship with Judaism and with Hashem. And it can, like, okay, this is more part of my life. And again, those choices become more real. They become more, then you can understand the weight between the two choices in front of you, not just, oh, this is what I always did. And that's, if you want to call it the secret sauce, it's the main thing we try to do is give better choices, and to and we trust that people that want to grow have the opportunity to do so, and they'll choose the right thing.
Wow, that was so deep, Rabbi. That's so deep. I gotta say, what you and Rabbi Color are doing, it's so phenomenal because you guys, a lot of yids together, right? A lot of Jewish people, all walks of life that are maybe observant, maybe not, or on the path of um to grow, right? And I gotta say, one experience that was one of the best ones, I gotta say, you had a little matzah party at Rabbi Cutler's house. It was like probably last week, right? I think like a week ago, Rabbi.
Yeah.
And we're this is cool, by the way. If anyone wants to try it, get aluminum foil, get a matzah, and put what's it called? Like sauce, like the pizza sauce and cheese. So good. Just put in the oven, not 10 seconds, maybe like 5 minutes. It'll get nice and it's just so delicious. And having matzah, that was like a whole nother level. But the thing that stood out was one of the students at your event. He was venting to me. He was sharing a lot that he was going through, and I I was just listening, right? And he was just saying, "Man, life is hard. Care of my family, and have a lot of things I'm juggling." And I'm just listening. Right now, it's good that you're doing something like this with a group of people that are positive, because you're gonna take their energy, and this is a nice way to leave your own reality for a second and to just focus at the moment. And you're meeting new people, and for the first time, a real authentic conversation with my brother, right? This is the second time I ever met this student. He was like, "Can I give you a hug because I feel better?" I said, "Yeah, for sure." And he gave me a hug, and I moved to the table, and I'm sitting down, and Josh is next to me, and the student, he shared something. He said, why bad things happen to good people? And that's a famous quote from, I mean, he's not the first one to say it. You already know Moshe Rabbeinu came up with that quote way before. But I told him a story. There's a story of Job, right? In Hebrew, it's different, but I made it short, like, where he had a lot of wealth, he had a family, and Hashem took everything away. And at the end, you know, of the story, he got more double portion of wealth and a new family. And I said, what can we take out of that, right? And I said to him, Job, even though that's not his real name, but I'm in English because it's easier to explain. I said, God, Hashem, basically mission in life or purpose, and we're still looking for it. But we all are different in different ways. And I said, what's the crazy end of the story about Job? And he goes, what? I said, this is a fun game I'm gonna share with you. But I said, do you know why his name was Job? And he goes, no, I don't know. And I told him, because he's the man to do the job, meaning that you're the man to do the job. Whatever you're facing, you're the man to do it. You know what I'm saying? I can't fight your battles. The man to do it. And next to me, he goes, Josh goes, David, Yaakov, you should be a rabbi. He said, you should be a rabbi. And I said, brother, I'm not there yet. I have to. I'm not in that level yet. Rabbi Israeli, he's the head of the game. I'm still in the, my tricycles. You know what I'm saying? I'm still trying to reach it. But it was a story that I had to share with you, Rabbi, because I had the moment to just not say anything or not engage, and I took the initiative to no, you know.
Mhm. Nice. And part of helping people is recognizing a need and acting on it. And, chesed is, at least from my observation, it's, recognizing a need, assessing how you can help, and then doing it.
Wow.
If a person's with the capacity of helping, so you recognize a person is feeling a little down, feeling a little, unsettled, and you heard him out, and that's one way of helping, just being an ear, and you're also amount of reassurance. So there you go. So right, and that's part of also what we want to try to educate our students is it being a positive Jewish person doesn't necessarily is beyond following the law, being the checkbox of following the laws of Shabbat and following the laws of kosher and following the laws of prayers. Those are amazing things to do, but it's more than just being a robotic person that does it. It's interacting in a positive way and being a positive force internally and externally. And helping and doing chesed is one of the tenets of Judaism in general, but it's something that we view our mission surrounding that as well, where we're helping just like you're helping somebody who doesn't have food or money. Some people don't have spirituality in their life, whether it's the way they grew up or choices or whatever it is, but they didn't have that foundation, and I'm a recipient of that. I didn't have that. I had parts of it. A traditional Israeli home does have parts of that. They have elements, but but the same way you go to a friend for seeing Shabbat, like, oh wow, this is what Shabbat looks like, and that's what we provide. We try to be doing because we want to give. We want to give the education. We're going to give the beauty of Shabbat. We're going to give the beauty of what Judaism really is, and getting close to Hashem. It's not a chore and it's not a hard thing to do. It's something that is very uplifting and beautiful.
I love it, Rabbi. That was really deep, Rabbi. And Rabbi, you know, one last thing before we wrap it up, real quick. One thing that we can take from this parsha this week, what would it be,
Yeah.
Rabbi?
So the this week's parsha discusses the later half of it talks about the tsaras and leprosy and the at least the tsaras affliction, but the beginning, the first very small part of it discusses childbirth and discusses the mitzvah of a brit milah, bris, and and ideally, in a regular, an average situation, and it's supposed to do it the eighth day. So the Ralbag is a commentary who is an interesting early commentary. Sometimes more like a practical um, overview of certain things. So he discusses the mitzvah of bris milah. This is why in the eighth day. So I mean, he goes through the other variants, right? So the other options could be immediate, right, or mitzvah, right, because it's a mitzvah, or 1 month when they're just like the pidyon, right? So 1 month is to ensure it's a viable baby, right? Those are three other options. 8 days seems to be just random date and thrown in there. So it says 13, it would be pretty painful. It's it's actually pretty painful effectively a adolescent and older to get a bris milah, and we physically, and we know by Moshe, by Abraham, I mean, he was 99, but it's painful. So we don't want to do unnecessary. We want the system to be painful. Obviously, some people have to do it later in life because they didn't have it when they were younger. But in terms of the way the laws should be orchestrated on a regularly, so that's off. That's off. Okay. When they're newborn, 1 day old, they're too fragile. They're too weak. They're too. It's just newborn. It's going through the birth. It's not safe, so to speak. It can't or be, I guess, within the realm of miracles that Hashem doesn't create a system where you have to just do miracles all the time. So it would just be unsafe and unhealthy for the baby as a newborn. So do 1 month. 1 month as we just like a pigeon has to be a viable baby. So we're relatively viable stage, and then do a bris. So he said that by then the love and the compassion for the baby would make it difficult to perform the mitzvah without a sense of withholding. When you want to do a mitzvah, you want to do it with enthusiasm, you want to do it with excitement, you want to do it because you want to perform the mitzvah. You don't want to perform the mitzvah and have like, it's going to hurt the baby. So 8 days, apparently God knows how humans work, because obviously, that 8 days, that cutoff where the average person can still give it their all. After 8 days, it becomes harder emotionally to be fully invested. You have to do it anyway, but 8 days, the average person can give it their all. And I'm just thinking, like, imagine a family waiting a few years to have a child, and they don't want their child to get hurt, but all of us can really perform in the mitzvah to that level and to do perfectly in theory, because we're capable, we have the capacity to dedicate to do a mitzvah because we want to do a mitzvah of Hashem. After that becomes a little harder, then Hashem doesn't want to put a situation where it's impossible or it's too difficult. Here's that perfect line that you're still able to perform without any questions in mind. So just finding the how it's perfectly balanced, that even the mitzvah of bris milah is perfectly balanced to ensure that it's performed beautifully.
Ooh, Rabbi, that was deep. That was. I love it. I love it. You brought the cherry in the pie. So look, I gotta wrap it up real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy you're here, guys. This is the outlet to reality. The holdest podcast in Vegas and Chicago every Tuesday. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Chit chit. Y'all know where to find me. I'm on Instagram, YouTube, um, Spotify, the outlet to reality. My Snapchat is take one, pass it, and my TikTok is at Yaakov28. And Rabbi Israeli, where can my fans find you?
Um, I do have an Instagram. It's Look it up again. What it is? Sorry, I'm not super involved in it, but we do intend at some point to create EDI underscore LVJE. But we do intend at one point to make something either maybe on Twitch or something on when I start preparing for Shabbat, maybe or cooking or something like that. That's something if I organize myself to see kosher cooking or whatever it is. So it's something that down the pipe, hopefully.